Show 46, again.
Okay.
Let's just read through some news.
All right.
What's going on in the world is all atrocious. Okay, what have we got here? This is all being shared around through the Facebook news. Anti-Zionism, not anti-Semitism. You've got solution, peaceful disarmament.
How about
Israeli
anti-Semitism
state.
and anti-Zionism? Because Semitism, they are not Semites anyhow.
That's right. Judaism condemns the
We're
state
Semite.
of Israel and its atrocities. Exactly. It's Judaism. It's Judaism.
Judaism has
is
got to
the
go. There
problem.
will not be a Jew or a synagogue left on the planet when I've got through with them.
Now, Putin meets with world rabbis to denounce Hitler and anti-Semitism for the umpteenth time. Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with a delegation of rabbis from several countries. Now, Joel has put his comments here. He says, someone here is lying. Is it the reporter? Is it Jaeger? Is Putin just playing along? I'd like to think that Putin is not that stupid and uneducated. So, now, this is what's happening. Of course, you know that things have ramped up in the Gaza. 2 rockets are fired from Lebanon that hit Israel. This is being reported by Press TV. Now, this has circulated for a very long time. Jews admit to destroying the white race. That's what it's all about. It's about destroying, totally wiping out Christianity and the white race. Now, what was particularly disgusting this is interesting. Joel shared this. There's residents of a small Guatemalan town want Jews to leave. There's 10 Orthodox Jewish families have moved in very recently into this small town of 10,000 residents.
San Juan La Laguna.
La Laguna, yes. Indigenous Mayans want to defend their rights against the ill will they are purportedly causing. That's the Jews purportedly causing. So that's an interesting read there too. Of course, the Jews say, well, it's not us, we're just doing this, that and the other, and we're being threatened with ovens and all kinds of things. Well, all right, if this small town is a wake-up, then they know that the Jew lie, the ovens is a lie, and they wouldn't be threatened with it, but they do want them out of their town because, as the Jews do, they make things filthy wherever they go. Now, this is it. This is something Joel shared. This is a photograph. You know what's going on here? Any idea? Don't read it. Just look at the photograph.
No, I'm looking at the photograph.
Yeah. What do you think's happening?
Well, there's a woman looking over her shoulder at us. There's people sitting on chairs. They're looking towards the sky by the looks of it.
Yeah.
And
what?
there appears to be 1, 2, 3 dots or something in the sky.
Yeah.
And,
Any ideas
what's
going on? No. This is on the Israeli side. They've all come out to see
the bombing
Gaza being bombed. Yeah, like they're all crapping on about how terrified they are. You know, this is what the world covers. Israelis are living in fear. Yeah, right. They're
all
out
sitting there with arms in chairs watching
the show.
And they're rockets going over.
Yeah. Now, of course...
Isn't that sick or not?
That is truly sick. Now, of course, you know that the defences of Hamas on behalf of the Palestinians are pathetic. It's this is a really good one. I'll come back to Palestine in a minute. We'll scroll through my entire news feed page. This is what some idiot has quoted. Wind is a finite resource, and harnessing it would slow down the wind, which would cause the temperature to go up. Now, this idiot is called Joe Barton. He is the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. Yes, I think the investigation needs to be on his inside. Which is totally... Now, underneath, somebody's put this together with... I'm not sure which is more disturbing, the statement or the fact that people actually voted for this idiot. So there's a lead there. Now, this is the same group, anti-Zionism, not anti-Semitism, which is all... you just heard we are the Semites. They are not. This dude's quoted, "I'd dump the Israelis tomorrow." Ex-CIA Michael Scheuer tells Congress. Now this is what is truly going on. Why is the international community silent over Israel's offensive in the Gaza Strip? Press TV. Why has the international community remained silent despite the fact that the Palestinian death toll from Israel's attacks on the Gaza Strip rises to 107, many of them women and children?
Look, there's layers of Judaism. There's the secret group that's behind all governments, controlled by money. They put into power whom they want because they own the media. Therefore, any elected politician is subject to Jewish censorship. Therefore, no government will do anything that is right.
Now, this must be the sun today, is it? Yes, on the 9th of July. Just a photograph of what the sun is doing. Looks like a really great...
Now, you've been doing a lot of tweets, right?
Yes, the tweeting. Let's go over to...
I was hoping to find a tweet for the mafia so I could get Francis shot. Let him know what's going, let the mafia know what's going on, because they're actually a type of people that don't stuff around, right? You can say that for them. And basically, the world is doomed. So we have to do... There's a battle going on, there's a world war going on. It never has ceased. It's been going on since 500 BC. And it's against all righteous people. So the mafia might be a tough lot and they kill each other and they rule with a rod of iron. But they do have families, and I'm sure they don't want their children to be murdered by the Jews. And this is what's happening with Fukushima. What they do in their business is a distraction from what the reality is if they sat down and talked about it, that Pope Benedict announced Christ. Now, if nothing else, the mafia families, that is the ones that aren't involved in the serious crimes, do love Jesus, the Catholics. So it's a Catholic war against the Jews. Rather, it's a Jewish war against the Catholics, and the Vatican has been entirely taken over by Jews. Freemasonry.
You see, it was the Catholic Church that for centuries and decades, and certainly in the modern era, has been the voice that has held back the immorality. They've always spoken against the immoral lowlife that the Jew has always tried to demoralise every society with. Now, Hitler, of course, was a Catholic boy. He grew up going to a Catholic church, and it was his sensibilities as a decent and moral human being that were being slammed by what he saw as the demoralisation of Germany since the Jew was allowed to run rampant, owning all of the banks, the businesses, etc., while the German people were starving. So, yes, you bet they declared war on Hitler because it was their greatest foe in that he could rally the nation behind him to overturn their rule and reign. And that is exactly what they don't want. They do not want a single united nation, sovereign nation, as Germany was under Hitler. As you can see, all of the nations now have been decimated through their foreign policy, which is the Jew foreign policy to breed out the white race, and everybody has no cultural or historical identity. They have no understanding of where it is that they come from. They are being fed the Jew temporal desire to live in this material world and get for themselves.
Berlin, up until the Second World War, was the most immoral city in Europe. And the likes of the movie stars, Marlene Dietrich, for example, when Hitler got to power, she and all of the other homosexuals like herself fled to America. And Hitler cleaned up Berlin. Now, is that a bad thing? Like, hello, I'm going to do it to the world. Right? Now, I'm a little bit annoyed with Hitler. First off, he had 180,000 Jews in his army. One big mistake. And that was enough to cause him to lose the war. The power of Germany and the ingenuity of Germany, and even the Antarctica where the Admiral Byrd was sent down, and this is possibly you might not know about, but look it up on the internet or YouTube. That's Admiral Byrd took a aircraft carrier and several destroyers, many men, over 5,000, to look at the secret bases in Antarctica that the Germans had been setting up. Now, this is the amazing part. He reports, and there is photographic evidence, and many of the people that were still alive on board the American destroyers and the aircraft carrier and the men flying the planes, they said that they were attacked by flying saucers. So we got photographs of them. And a ship, a destroyer, within minutes of the attack was blown in half. Many men died. There was flying saucers coming out of the water at gigantic speed, taking on the aircraft that had been sent out from the aircraft carrier and were destroyed by rays of light. Now, you think, okay, if Americans are talking about it, it's probably rubbish. But this is not the Americans put this out. It was the Russians. It was the Russians who gathered the information on what was going on with Admiral Byrd going down at the end of World War II. So, what had the Germans done? Where did they get this information from to build these machines? Or were the machines actually angelic? As if you go through the ancient past, you see these gigantic monuments, and we've just recently come back from Egypt, and there's two statues made of this, it's almost a glass-like material, black, jet black, and there's two statues side by side, and they've been moved 500 miles from where they were quarried. And this stuff, if you touch it, it's harder than a floor tile. It is fantastic. Yet it's all been shaped into these gigantic statues, and they weigh 500 or more tons. I think that's an underestimate, because I'm looking at the things, and I've got a very practical mind when it comes to the size of things and the weights of things and how it's difficult it is to move and to carve them in shape. These were perfect, and when the Romans went into Egypt, they tried to destroy them by whatever means they could, and they did do a lot of damage to these particular things, but then they eventually give up. Now, these would be in the neighbourhood of, let's say in metres, 25 metres high, 8 metres wide and deep, of a black material, something like a black granite, but it's smoother and finer material than that. It originates 500 some odd miles away. Estimated weight between 500 and 1,000 tonnes. I'm saying it's closer to 1,000 tonnes. And they're side by side. There's two of them, identical. That's near the Valley of the Kings where we went into, which is one of the biggest rip-offs of all time. You can't take photographs, you've got to walk through and you've got a guard looking at you. And if you do happen to sneak a photo, they'll take your camera off you, right?
Unless you bribe them.
Unless you bribe them. It is Egypt is totally corrupt. Totally. So while we was there, by the way, we looked at all these things, and the Great Pyramid, we went in and looked at that. It costs, to go into the Queen's Chamber, it costs $2,000 US to go into the Queen's Chamber. You've got to have a permit. You've got to make application beforehand, and then they'll arrange it all. A super bribe. National Geographic pays in the order of $200,000 a year to the Antiquities Department of Egypt, and they are owned by the Jews. So anything's discovered has to go through the Antiquities of the Jews. So in other words, anything that proves creation or Christ or anything like that, which is what it's all about, they censor it and stop it. That's how the Jews operate. What's this you're looking here?
This is amazing. Somebody's caught this. It goes for 9 minutes in Milan on Sunday, July the 6th.
What we're looking at is some sort of a group of very bright lights in a daylight situation, and it's changing shape and flashing in colours. It's got a blue spectrum, a green.
Actually, it's not really changing shape. It's the light is being reflected and so
well,
it's changing.
Well, it appears to be changing shape. But I mean, what is it? It's a very, very odd-looking thing. It's gigantic, whatever it is.
Now, an aeroplane took off before up in the screen. So
just replay it again so we can see the. You're screen capturing, aren't you? I have a standard rule here. Whenever we do a radio show, screen capture, and my sweetheart here is amazing how that I don't even have to tell her. She starts it automatically because I said this is historic. And like go back to say the time of Jesus wandering around, and there's the a speech on whatever subject. Let's say if you had a video camera and you had, say, Martha there with the video camera, and I'm saying, look, I'm going up on the mountain
here, babe, look, here it is, watch.
And I'm going to have the sermon on the mount. And when afterwards I get back and say, now let's have a look at it on the video. Oh, I didn't switch it on. Can you imagine how pissed off I would be? Well, today we are in the same situation. I'll say to her every time we do a radio program,
there it is.
Switch on the screen capture. And every time she doesn't do it. I'm stunned. Really
there it goes, did you see it?
Oh, this other camera's going to see me, my hands reaching for
no,
you.
it's on. It's on, the screen capture.
No, it is.
There it goes. Did you see it?
No, do it again. Look, I'll get this camera out here because looking at me is not really something that thrills me that much. We'll go in and we'll show the viewing public what we're talking about. Okay, start it again.
I have. It's going to come up at 39 seconds.
This is over Milan, Italy.
Yes.
Now, I was saying that there's many, many things going to be happening in space. I was talking about, well, there's the plane go past, so it's, okay, go back and freeze it. This will give you some idea how high it is when a plane goes overhead. Oh, right, just take it back a little teensy.
Okay, I have to freeze it when it gets to 37.
Full screen it.
Here it comes at 38.
Okay, now you see in the distance, this is 38 seconds into this. This thing, whatever it is high up in space. The size of it, well, there's the plane going past. Now that plane, whether it's going overhead and he's on an angle or whether it's just taken off, it's hard to say. But I'd say that it's just flying overhead. It looks like one of the Ryanair, doesn't it? If you're in Italy or somewhere and you want to fly around Europe, use Ryanair. It's only 50 bucks.
Well, yeah, this is in Milan, so it's probably taking
Italy.
off from the airport, yeah. Probably taking off.
Well, even if it is.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's look at this thing up in space now. Now that is angelic. It's
So this was the 6th of July. Well, let's count. If we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably more.
Now, is he zooming back and forwards? Or is that...
I think he's zooming, yeah.
What are you counting?
Well, the like parts to it
Or
seems to
just
be
bring it in
individual
close and freeze
orbs.
frame it.
I will when I get to the point where it's clear enough to do that. There we go.
And I'll zoom in on it myself.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably one's behind there too. Comes that way.
Go ahead. You see that flash then?
Yeah.
I wouldn't really strangle you, darling, even if you did wearing a certain amount and you didn't take the video camera with you and you didn't turn it on. Reminds me of that idiot friend of mine that went over to Ayers Rock, and I said, look, take a GPS with you because I want to get the exact coordinate on top of Ayers Rock. And he said, oh, I don't know how to operate one of them. I said, well, you don't have to. See that red button there, just push it. It's called on button. So he said, oh, I don't think I could do that. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I wrote it out. Now look at that, that's changed shape.
It has changed shape, yes.
We're talking something very large here. See if I can follow it with this camera here. So tell the listeners where they can see this. So what's it called?
Well, it's being passed around on Facebook. I've picked it up off the feed. Silla's watched it this morning. I'll have to go out of here to tell you where to. It's on the YouTube. It's called Amazing Incredible Ebani, E-B-A-N-I, on Milan, Sunday, 6th of July, and it's at the Get Jiggy channel. It's had 144 views.
So I was saying about the Russians have put out this video. See if you can find it there. It goes for how long?
Well, 9 minutes.
Have you looked at the whole thing?
No, no.
Look at the end of it and expand it to full screen. You don't like full screen, do you? Look at that. Where the hell is it? There we go. Going in and out of focus. So he's probably using an automatic focus on his camera. God, it's hard to keep up with it. So this thing is stationary in space. The guy on the camera, of course, he's all over the place. And it's in and out of focus, as you can see. And usually what happens when you're using a modern camera, you want to switch the bloody focus off automatic and you can't. Especially when something's happening and you want to do it real quick.
He's using a photo camera Canon EOS 600 Telezoom CTO 1000mm.
That's a pretty good camera. There's the corner of his roof by the looks of it. So you can see it's moving and it's blinking on and off.
Astonishing.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, I was going to say, I'll get back to Hitler in a minute. Out in space, we've been watching here in northern area of Australia, in Tugum. It's on the coast of Queensland. See if we can find the one on the Russian.
What's it called?
General Bird and UFOs or something like that. Antarctica UFO. Might find it. You see that guy, the Russian guy there?
This one?
Yeah. Now there's one above it, is longer. But anyhow, Operation High Jump Admiral Byrd, full screen it. And then see if you can rush through a little bit and get to the flying saucers, because it's only a short one, you might be able to find it. Turn it down to low. You can always upgrade it when you get there. Our connection is dreadful. So what this is showing is the German submarines going out, and the Russians put together a very lengthy documentary on this with generals. Turn the volume up, right?
It won't come through while we've got the...
Oh, okay, can't do it. We'll just fast forward a little bit and see if we can see what happened. Maybe we can get some of the flying saucers. But they went for a 6-month mission to Antarctica to investigate the apparent submarine bases that were in the ice, go through an opening in the ice and into Antarctica itself, and the Germans had these bases down there. Now there's a UFO, right? So when they get down there, they started to get a bit too close for comfort. Next thing, these flying saucers were coming out of the water at high speed and destroyed the entire fleet and sent them packing after 2 months. So you see how this Vladimir, it's called Project High Jump. That looks like Admiral Byrd, is it? There's the aircraft carrier they took down. Now, it was a pretty formidable force, and yet it wasn't attacked by submarines, it was attacked by UFOs. And eyewitnesses said that these things come out the water with lightning speed and caused so much devastation in 2 minutes and destroyed the entire fleet, in the sense of aircraft. One battleship was blown in half, planes were shot out the air with a laser of some sort, and they turned tail and ran. Now, America at that time, their navy was of course the leading naval force in the world, because Germany had been defeated. So you can look that up, and the one that is about 45 minutes long or even longer is an interview with the Russians and their explanation, and then interviews with pilots from the aircraft carrier and men arming the Ak guns and cannons and so forth. That's how many ships there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ships or more, going down to take care of the Germans, which certainly sorted them out. Now, I was going to say, how did the Germans, if they had developed these UFOs, which is doubtful, but possibly they did, or they had angelic assistance, because the ancient Vedas of India, the word Vedas is the word for angel, and in the Vedas they describe a battle in space and cities that were destroyed and still are suffering the effects of radiation today. And they described how these flying machines were built. And based on that technology, the Germans become the leading experts on translating the Hindi. So the secret Nazi polar expeditions, right? So they become experts on knowing this technology. So you have to ask yourself, how could Germany go from being a defeated nation to be the leading force in military might. That is with rockets, with the Tiger tank, with the submarines, and even to the point of building the Bismarck, which was sunk by a torpedo that hit it in the rudder. And this thing had, there's Admiral Byrd there, this thing had plate steel 12 inches thick. So it was a formidable task to stop the Bismarck. However, it was stopped. A lucky shot hit the rudder and disabled the rudder so it couldn't steer. And then they come and bombed it. So the vulnerable part of the Bismarck was being bombed from the air, because all of the ships were firing shells a distance of 15 miles from over the horizon. The horizon disappears about 7 miles. So a ship has to be about 10 miles away before you can't see it because it's so tall. And they've been able to fire. So the shell power of the ships that came in against the Bismarck after it had been disabled, they come in the fog, and there was only 4,000 metres away. So they was firing at a point-blank range, which took out all the guns and turrets of the weakest point, which is above deck on the Bismarck. So they hit it with everything. And they did get rid of it, they sunk it. So there's all sorts of things. We're looking at ancient pyramids in Antarctica and so forth.
Right, going back to what's being passed around on the news feed. Oh, this is Andy's battle in the UK. It must be 2 weeks away. It is 2 weeks away for their barricading the highway in London. Corrupt social worker finally sentenced to prison. This is Andy's grail, if you like, exposing all of this corruption. He has a very sad story himself, very familiar with the corruption of the children's social services in London.
I gave them a solution to have a vigilante group armed with baseball bats, or in England, cricket bats. And it's easy to find out where these people live. And they are just stealing children away from their parents. And rather than helping the parents with possibly the problems they may have, after all, if you're unemployed and you're on the piss, it's not a healthy place for a child to grow up in, so why not help the parents to have a nice healthy home and help them out?
Now,
they don't do that. They just go and snatch the kids.
There's definitely a link between vaccine-induced diseases, and it seems that any reporting of vaccine-induced diseases or any suggestion, that is an excuse for them to come and remove the child from the home, because they don't actually want the evidence of vaccine-induced disease out there in the marketplace. It interferes with profits of...
Anyhow, if anyone knows anyone in the mafia, tell them what's going on with Benedict. And they got a free pass to go in there and get Benedict out of there. And I'd say go in there with 100 men from... the police aren't going to come near you. And they certainly won't pull a gun on you if you've got 100 men. And just tell them straight up, Christ is back and we want to talk to Benedict.
Now, over here...
And put a bullet in Francis while you're at it. And George Ganswain.
Okay, the views on the apostolic letter is up to 10,010 views. And the letter, last night I focused on this one, Sister Maria's letter, nailing George Ganswain. It's been tweeted to a lot of people. It started out at 95 and is up to 274. So the tweeting works, people are responding to it and going to look at it. Stop tweeting and the read count stopped going up.
Yeah.
So it's not too many are retweeting anything, naturally. And stupid comments from deluded Christians, etc. So I continue. Now, this can be a short show today because we've got to get it up there, 35 minutes. We've got things to do.
Have we? What?
You're working on your PowerPoint. Joel's got to get it up there.
Well, what time is it?
Well, it's 11.
How long does it take to get it up, Joel?
About half an hour or what?
Oh, I already got another 10 minutes. Keep going.
Right, so why don't you sing? Sing for the world.
Oh, come on. Oh, why don't you sing there, huh?
Well, because it's not singing.
Bloody sing. On one breath I'm saying for the mafia to go and shoot Francis, and on the other end you want me to sing. I'll start singing when he's dead meat.
There we go, something to look forward to. Let's go over to the Twitter page and over to me. Oh, it's another notification. Here we go. Alright, pinned to the page, so this is always there. Pope Francis is the Antichrist, he knows of my return, Benedict told him on March 23rd, 2013 at Castel Gandolfo. He rejected, of course. So then there's all of the tweets that I've done. Pray for priest, Kremlin, Russia several times, Cat World Mission, some...
Now, I think people out there, you should look into the fact of a New Zealand scientist many years ago said that an atomic weapon or a nuclear device cannot be exploded unless the sun is in a certain position. And I believe that is accurate information. So the Jews, of course, with Dimona and their own nuclear weapon development, why don't you do away with that bloody thing?
I do. It comes up all the time. It's with the
What is
screen
it?
capture. It's
Huh?
the screen capture. It does it all of the time. It doesn't go away. See, now you know that the screen capture is going, because that appears. All right. Italian Insider. This is attached to the Vatican. They have been bombarded by me the last few days. 3 witnesses to the second coming presumed dead. Thugs hired by Francis, arranged by George Ganswain. In the meantime, the war continues in Palestine.
But the interesting thing is, we've given this to George Ganswain, of course, and he's not doing any talking. He's been offline for a while because he knows that we're after him. And what he miscalculated, and Francis being stupid, he wouldn't have had the brains anyhow, was a letter written by Sister Maria della Rosa, who was a 20-year friend of Pope Benedict and was the lady that was in the basement of Castel Gandolfo when a knock come to the door, and it was Francis's men with a message from Francis. She wouldn't let them in because the Pope had just found out that the RAI TV had stopped his broadcast that Christ was back, and with the Shroud of Turin. And then she went down again to get the Pope a drink of water because she was still pissed off. And a knock come to the door, and this time it was the voice of George Ganswain, which she recognised, and she said, "I opened the door to that traitor." And when she did, 6 men working for Francis, dressed in black suits, rushed up and roughed up the Pope. They beat him up. He fell to the ground bleeding from the ear. Father Giuseppe Savello tried to protect him, and he was roughed up as well. And as this is going on, he was able to get a message out to us on Facebook, and that was the end of it. And 8 days later, he was dead.
So I tweeted all of the Rothschilds yesterday, believing it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom comes with me. The devil has been using the quantum emphasis on has been. I was reborn to the pit of hell. 105 Rothschild Avenue, Sydney, identifying the devil. He can run, but he can't hide. He would tell, I just follow orders. I saw that over at Evelyn de Rothschild's Twitter page that he last tweeted in September. He says the New World Order will prevail, and that the masses are awake physically but not spiritually, and that I just follow orders. Well, he would say that, but
Who's he taking orders from?
He
Lucifer?
would tell, I just follow orders. If that were the case, I would have been reborn onto Orsini Avenue, for example. So Israel is Rothschild family business created for their own destruction. Does the devil really think it can win? No, its time is up. So anybody who goes and follows the tweets and wants to read about the sender of the tweet will be reading all of those particular
See, all Jews in power and all rabbis, they all are based on the worship of Lucifer.
Yes.
It's the God of Moses, of course, which is the God that caused all of the nations of ancient times to fight each other and kill each other and so forth. And a lot of it is bullshit anyhow, because it's been written after the fact and written into the story. They're even coming up with now that David never existed and all this kind of thing. So it depends on your viewpoint. As much confusion as you can possibly put out there, they put out there. This is what they do.
Oh, we've had one retweet on each of these. Okay, I measure my creation to prove all things. Books written by men are a trap for the unwise. Christians are the most deluded, defending a scam, believing the Jew lies. They too are on the broad road to destruction. I have spewed them out of my mouth. They make me ill. Look at Palestine. And I've been posting the shows to the Twitter. So yeah, it's been interesting. All of the ministries, all the churches. There's now up over 2,167 tweets, and I started at, I think it was 261 was the number of tweets that was there. So it's 1,900 tweets that I've done, and the total reads for the apostolic letter is now up over 71,000. So it'd be nice for the world to retweet. However, they retweet every other little bit of filth or BS, whatever. And such
Now,
is the state.
getting on to what's happening in space, there's two stars here that's brightly flickering from red to blue to yellow to green and white. One is predominantly redder than the other. So this is the two stars that talking about the Hopi Indians. And the story of the Hopi Indians is one that was repeated in Africa, one that was repeated in Asia, and another one in Switzerland. And the angel that appeared to these people and taught them beautiful things, how to grow their food and corn and all that kind of stuff. What they were left with was a plaque. And each of these nations, so you've got the yellow nation, you've got the white nation, you've got the red Indian, and the black nation. And so we've got these plaques have been left with them to prove that when you put the four of them together, they're all identical. Now this goes back to the Hopi. Now the Hopi were told, and the others were told also, but primarily the Hopi have recorded the message because of being a native group and loyal to their intelligence of their observations of this being a fact, that when the Christ comes, he will be heralded by the two stars that was talked about by the Hopi. Now, we've been looking at them and we've taken photographs of them, and it's on our YouTubes. And now they're getting to the point where when we look at it with a naked eye, there seems to be another smaller star beside the bigger one at about 8 o'clock. So when you look at something, this is in Australia, and they're looking from the south. One is south and one is slightly southwest. So it goes over and they're in the same position every night. Not like the planets, it's different. They move. But these are in the same position. In other words, these things are close. And they're coming in, and they are these beautiful colours. So it's quite amazing to see. Very thrilling. Also, on the 1st of October last year, when we was in Egypt, about the 2nd or 3rd, I've got the camera overlooking the Great Pyramid from the apartment we were in, and I saw this planet, and it was the wrong colour. It's supposed to be Mars, but it was yellow with a green ring around it. As it turns out, it was Mars, and Mars has now permanently changed its colour because it was hit by one of the discharges of electricity. What happens is when a comet comes in, if it goes too, and if it's very large, and if the planet is close enough to the comet, in the case of Mars, it was its atmosphere was changed to a glowing neon type colour by the gases it picked up and the magnetic field that interacted with it, and then the discharge of the static electricity of the comet caused the thing to for Mars to change. Now, Mars is 4,016 miles across, so we're talking over 5,000 kilometres. And this is what happened to it. So we were in Egypt and we were fortunate enough to notice it and took videos of it. So it's very, very exciting times in that sense that we are living in.
I'm going to tweet this today.
Good idea.
Go back and tweet this to everybody.
This is, I'll just bring that camera around a bit. Right, there we go. This was a photograph that Ash took while we was in Rome.
Hurghada, Egypt.
Didn't we do this in Rome?
No, this is the other one. The other brilliant one, the Messiah, was Rome. This is Egypt.
What, with the scarf over my
The
head?
scarf, yeah.
Okay.
In your Galabaya.
Is that the Galabaya?
Yes.
I'm wearing the Galabaya.
You're wearing...
Galabaya is like a white, like a long shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's brilliant. Chuka's done an amazing job with this.
Yeah, we have some marvellous people like Joel and Chuka and
Heiko does great work, and Pierre, of course,
Pierre.
with his, the girls, just telling everybody, every man and their dog.
I'm trying to do here cut the light out.
Yes.
So what's this called on YouTube?
What is it called?
I'm going to let it run.
Yeah.
That'll be the end of the show, man. What do you say?
Yes, we'll stop things here.
You want to stop it now? What part of let it run and stop now is...
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
I said
That's
let
the
it
end.
run. And that'll be the end of the show.
Oh, okay, all right.
Is there any sound?
Yeah, just us.
No, there isn't. It's muted by the microphone.
When you got the speaker plugged in out here, it mutes it.
And this has stopped running. The whole program stopped running.
All right. Okay, that'll do then.
I'll have to get into there.
All right, any last words?
Any last words before I get back onto the Twitter? It's a condition. It's called Twitter head, and I believe it's even in Wikipedia or something. Anyway,
What?
bye.
What, is someone's afflicted with that sort of thing?
Somebody's afflicted with it. And the numbers. I keep watching the numbers go up every few minutes.
Well, it's a wonderful way to tell your
Recording.
words, isn't it?
Look at this. This is my recording book. So last night at 9:25, the Maria letter had 105. It went up 10 views within the first tweet. It went up 10 views because it started at 95. So then at 9:36 it was 137, 9:46 it was 186, then at 9:54 it was 205,
So
10:18,
this Maria
2:30.
letter
Yes.
is what we received from
Sister Maria.
de la Rosa.
Yeah.
And we know it's genuine because of the terminology she used.
Yes, yes. I reflect. When I was reading George Ganswain's tweets, he used exactly the same term that she quoted when he said to her, you know, you're going to be speaking Maltese,
Now,
sister.
he also had influence over Pope Benedict's brother, because Pope Benedict used the same terminology that George Ganswain said.
Yeah, George Ratzinger used the same term. Oh, it's fairy tales. Well, that was Ganswain's
So what
terminology.
happens in brothers, which probably a lot of people with brothers out there will know, that the older brother of Benedict is apparently an arsehole that is jealous of his younger brother becoming Pope. That's what it boils down to, and he's regarding him as being an idiot because he announced Christ is back.
Yes.
And he said it's a fairy tale. And we heard this. We've got an actual recording of the phone call
Yes, Anna.
between Anna
Anna. Yeah, we
and,
recorded it.
the
Yeah.
brother, George.
Yeah. No.
So he doesn't sound like a very nice man at all.
And he'd be prepared to let the world go to having to use Control Delete just to stop anything right now.
Right, well, I'll switch it off.
Okay, right.